Hello? You don't say. You don't say. You don't say.
Who was it?
He didn't say.
Well, what did he say?
He said munchy, crunchy, chocolatey Cocoa Puffs. Yahoo! Let's go the Cocoa Puffs. Go the Cocoa Puffs. Next time, send me a postcard.
Out of all the cereal mascots, and there are many, none of them match the sheer insanity and cuckoo-ness, is that even a word, of Sonny the Cuckoo Bird. You probably know of Sonny and his love for Cocoa Puffs, that borderlines on an addiction. But do you know his history? Like how he got the name Sonny? Probably not. Seems like a weird name for a bird. So in today's video, we're going to take a look back at the history and evolution of Sonny the Cuckoo Bird, and we're going to begin at the history of the cereal that he advertises, Cocoa Puffs. In 1937, General Mills introduced their new cereal product, named Kix. And in the years after Kix released, several cereals were created that used the same creation process as Kix, such as Trix, Reese's Puffs, and what we're looking at in today's video, Cocoa Puffs. In 1956, Cocoa Puffs were introduced, and of course, they needed a mascot that would be used to promote the cereal in commercials. But their first mascot was not the Cuckoo Bird. The mascot actually wasn't even an animal at all, but instead, these 3 kids were used. And I don't think that these kids actually have names, so I'll just be calling them the Cocoa Puff Kids. The Cocoa Puff Kids made their television debut sometime in the late 1950s, where they would pretend to travel around on what they called the Cocoa Puff train, or they would just talk about how much they loved Cocoa Puffs.
Puff, puff, Cocoa Puffs. Puff, puff, Cocoa Puffs. The flavor Cocoa Puffs. Cocoa Puffs, Cocoa Puffs, Cocoa Puffs.
And they also appeared on the box for Cocoa Puffs. The Cocoa Puff Kids remained as Cocoa Puffs' advertising mascot for approximately 6 years. But in 1960, in the middle of the Cocoa Puff Kids' television appearances, Rocky and Bullwinkle were used to advertise the cereal during an airing of the TV series Rocky and His Friends. But that was just a one-off thing. And for at least 2 more years, the Cocoa Puff Kids continued to be used in advertising. But in 1962, the Cocoa Puff Kids were replaced by Cocoa Puff's new mascot, the Cuckoo Bird.
If I can't see him, I can't go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Woo! Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs! Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs!
Happens every time.
In the commercials, we see the Cuckoo Bird, voiced by Chuck McCann, go absolutely crazy for his beloved Cocoa Puffs. But unlike most other cereal mascots who have a fondness for their cereal, the Cuckoo Bird instead takes it to a whole nother level and goes downright insane at the mere sight of his Cocoa Puffs. At least he tries to get a handle on his addiction to the cereal in later commercials, unlike most other cereal mascots. In this first appearance, he also wore a shirt, which is definitely the biggest difference compared to his modern design, because nowadays he's just completely nude. The commercials would eventually evolve to include both the Cuckoo Bird and his grandfather, whom he calls Gramps. And these commercials that included the duo gave the Cuckoo Bird his name of Sonny, which is what Gramps calls him as sort of a nickname because, you know, it's his grandson, so naturally he calls him Sonny. The commercials that included Sonny and Gramps gave the advertisements a new dynamic. Sonny and Gramps would find themselves in some sort of predicament. So Gramps would whip out his box of Cocoa Puffs, where was he keeping that? Gramps would then proceed to pour a bowl for Sonny, who would then go wild and end up solving their current plight.
Only 2 more miles to the gas station, Gramps.
Well, there must be a better way to... Hey, I know. Sonny can't resist the chocolatey flavor of Cocoa Puffs.
Oh, oh, no. Go for Cocoa Puffs! Go for Cocoa Puffs! How do we get here?
Cocoa Power, Sonny.
Eventually, Gramps would be dropped and would stop appearing in the commercials. But Sonny the Cuckoo Bird would still keep the name of Sonny, even though his grandfather wasn't there to call him that anymore. And in Gramps' stead, the original Cocoa Puff Kids were brought back. But they now had a new role. Instead of just talking about how much they loved Cocoa Puffs, they would now hunt down Sonny, who would be trying to get over his crippling addiction to Cocoa Puffs. And the kids would show him the Cocoa Puffs, which would of course make Sonny go crazy. And why the kids did this, I do not know. They must find it funny to see a crippling addict relapse into his addiction. At the time when the Cocoa Puff Kids returned, Sonny ditched the original striped tuxedo and bow tie, and replaced it with a striped sweater. At least I think that's a sweater. They used the same colors as the original tuxedo, tuxedo he wore. Just like Gramps, the Cocoa Puff kids would eventually disappear. They very well might have went to prison for harassment. And after the Cocoa Puff kids' disappearance, Sonny was the only main recurring character. The next noteworthy change to Sonny's design would be in the 90s, where he got a fatter beak and he got a new outfit as well, that was meant to make him look more hip and cool. But I gotta say, it didn't really work too well. He kinda looks goofier than he did before. The final change to Sonny's design would come in 2004, when he lost all his clothing and went completely naked. And around this time, in 2010, someone from the Cocoa Puffs lore, who had been missing for over 40 years, reappeared, and that someone was Gramps. And as you can see, Gramps was updated to match Sonny's modern design, but he kept the same clothing he wore all the way back in the 60s. And since 2004, Sonny has stayed the same as a naked 2D bird, which is surprising because most mascots make the transition from a 2D animated form to a 3D CGI animated form, but not Sonny. He has stayed 2D since his first appearance all the way back in the 60s. And that was the history and evolution of Sonny the Cuckoo Bird. Emphasis on cuckoo. And if you enjoyed this video, a like, subscription, and maybe even a comment would be greatly appreciated. And if you want to watch some of my other videos, I'll have a few linked in the description. And I'll see you next time. Goodbye.